right here, man. Okay. For the set, hey, do it for the set, for the set, for the set, do it for the set, for the set, for the set, do it for the set, for the set, do it for the set. Place it back, we gon' get respect. Place it back, place it back, we gon' get respect. Get respect. The black marks on the asphalt. Blast off, blast off. I'm about to blast off. Okay, found out the truth. Then we came and took it. Far from picture perfect. Brother Frank cook it. On the dirty mantle where ain't nobody looking. Start speaking book and everybody booking. Okay, on my G code. Drop the C in the E though. Wise as a serpent. Get me watching every ego. All singing. I want to spot through the peephole. We just trying to eat though. They make it illegal. We the real X-Men, and if you don't believe, bro, we as smart as Cerebro. Pull a steel like Magneto. Cold-blooded bastards who looking for some answers. Wolverine slasher when they walk past you. Wow. For the set, hey, do it for the set, for the set, for the set, hey, do it for the set, for the set, for the set, hey, do it for the set, for the set, do it for the set. Place it back, we gon' get respect. Place it back, we gon' get respect. The black marks on the asphalt. Blast off, blast off. I'm about to blast off. I hope them Negroes come and listen. Let them Hebrews come and listen. Let them Israelites come and listen. Let them real niggas come and listen. For the set, do it for the set. For the set, do it for the set. For the set, for the set, do it for the set. For the set, do it for the set. Place it back, we gon' get respect. Place it back, we gon' get respect. The black marks up on the asphalt. Blast off, blast off. I'm about to blast off. Hey,
that be hard. That be hard.
My commander, man. That's the answer.
Hey, that be hard.
Hey, glory to the Father.
wow.
Hey,
I mean, see, I ain't got no belt. So,
you know what I'm saying? Thank you to the house of St. John and the lovely diary.
All right, you mess around, leave it. You know he's gonna do a class and cut the camera on just to show you.
I'm like, damn.
He did already.
I know, that's what I'm telling you. He's gonna cut it on just to show you, like, hey, John, you need to watch over here. In the class, and the class is like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
That's a good. I was over there like, what the fuck you doing? I look close to the phone. I know the goddamn well.
and then he said, oh, you know, thanks St. John for, you know, this piece of jewelry.
All righty, shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom, most high Christ, most high in Christ. You know what I'm saying? Welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. One Nation Israelite School. I'm your host of the Most Commander Judea. And we're coming to you on a new moon, bringing in a new moon. Y'all forgive me. We already know where we finna go with this. All right. So I know y'all like. Hold on, I never even asked that. I know y'all like the Q&As, the question breakdowns. Mm-hmm. How many like the story times?
Yeah, I like.
So I gotta give y'all a story time. I know we in a new moon. I just gotta give y'all a story time real quick. So I'm giving counsel, right? I'm giving counsel. Now this is the level of sickness that's in Israel to this day that those people who call themselves leaders ain't touching. You're like, y'all know for me, I am one of the people that speak heavy when it comes to child molestation, rape. You know what I'm saying? Well, I speak heavy for anything if it comes to our community. All I got to do is if I got grips to it, I can give it to you like it is. So I'm giving counsel. Now, mind you, the molestation, and remember that we was just talking about how that same spirit is in the earth today about this. You think about the evil that it had to be for you to devour your own child.
Right.
We was talking about the man who just recently burnt his daughter up. So now, imagine this level of hatred for your child and the mind of a pedophile in this. So I'm counseling this girl. Now I'm wondering why she so rude. She seemed like everything I say she want to be argumentative. And I was dealing with 3 of them. So 2 things come out of this. So when I finally say, okay, she just like normally I don't have that much patience. I was be like, all right, get them out of here. I'm gonna leave.
Right.
But something said, all right, poke that bug a little bit. Let's see what the hell going on. She don't need to be kicked out. She need to be edified. And something in my spirit saying if I kick her out, it'll be worse for her spirit than it would be right. So I waited and I poked a little bit and I waited and I poked a little bit. And we finally, and I was like, you ain't gonna never get married because you broken, you shameless, you hurt, you got a hurt the you that you won't tell nobody, and you think that you're gonna be able to deal with men with that evil spirit, and no real man is going to ever settle for that. So then she said, what the F I know about men? Especially the black man. The black man won't even protect his own effing daughter. My daddy used to give me $5 and ask me what I'm gonna do to keep it. Like, so she goes into like this rant while she's crying and she's explaining how her dad used to basically molest her, touch her, rape her. And it's for the you sickos who want to say he didn't rape her because he didn't just hold her down and take it from her. But you know, you get the right. So when people say certain things, I'm like, you know, before you talk, Commander Judez, when you hear these stories, if it hits you when I'm telling it to you, imagine you being in front of a person who's crying when they're telling you. You ain't the one holding back tears trying to explain to them and trying to console this person and bring them back to, all right, this is, you know what I'm saying? How you tell somebody who's telling you this, that, okay, it's pray. We come follow the Most High. You need to get behind leadership. You know what I'm saying? We do that. But that's why our number one enemy you should understand, if it comes to any religion, is Christianity. Mm-hmm. Why? Because through all of this stuff, when we get to these people and we come to show them the right way, they're so damaged, they don't want to hear that shit because Christian churches told them already. Where's the first place that everybody is taught to run to when it gets hard and you want to find God? Run to the church. Right. So they run to the Christian church, and the Christian church say, God, Jesus wept, just pray, believe. Meanwhile, you still going home getting beat up, raped, prostituted, whatever the case may be. So now when you get to the real prophets, how do we save you? Basically our job is that much harder now. Right. So remember how you carry yourself in the light out there, because you don't know who's watching you. You know what I'm saying? But that was one story that came out. And I'm gonna dive into that later. I'm not gonna dive into it deep tonight. I'm gonna deal with that topic later. Then it's another one. So we counseling. When I tell you the level of sickness in Israel, we counseling. We talking. And dude's like, man, people think I'm crazy, but they don't know what the hell going in my head. They don't know the images that still pop up in my head. So we like, because everybody think he crazy. Mm-hmm. But I talk to him, he got good goddamn sense. It's just sometimes he just tick. And he was like, he said, what the F y'all know about this? He said, don't y'all hate? Like I don't know. Like one moment we was talking to him, like, what the F y'all know about this? And he got quiet. He said, don't y'all hate when y'all sleeping and y'all get woke up because y'all mama hunching her boyfriend in y'all bed? And I was like, it caught me on guard. So what the hell going on here? like yeah. When he first said, what the hell going on here? So then that's when he's like he was like, y'all ain't never happened to y'all. And we're like, No, everybody like, and I was like, think about that level there.
Nobody can relate, so they think you're crazy.
Right. And the worst part is because in America, you're taught that for example, you go into movies, the killer is the one who's glorified.
Right.
When you think about all the movies, go to your scare movies. You don't think about the person who survived. The only person who's glorified is who? Michael Myers, Jason.
Right.
So now, then when you go to the other movies, ain't nobody in there glorified who was trying to do right.
Mm-hmm.
You know who's glorified? When you look at Boys in the Hood, you rarely hear people talk about Furious, who was Trey Dad. No, you hear about Doughboy. You hear about basically the gangsters, the ones who shoot and kill and selling dope. In America, the person who is victimized is never glorified, or the person who stands for right is never glorified. It's always the person who is doing the evil. The reason I say that is to say that in this boy's case, he's a victim of that same living that you Israelites face on a day-to-day basis. He is the victim that is looked at as the bad guy.
Right.
Because in America, the victim is always the one that's wrong, and the one who did wrong is the one who's always glorified. The person who died, he used to sell drugs, he used to do this and do that, and the person who killed him, man, that's a real nigga, bro. He'll kill you. He'll murderer. It's always been that way in America. Why? Because America was built on lies, on thievery, murders. Right. So there we have it. All right. So those two situations that happened, and I'm like, of course, you know, I can't go into too deep anything that would expose anybody.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna leave it there. But I was just thinking about the level of sickness in Israel that still lies today. Now, when we go back to Deuteronomy, and I tell you that though Deuteronomy 28 and verses we read about the evil eye applied back when the Roman siege, you can still tie it in today. And we know that because that's why one of the most famous sayings about time and history is what? History repeats itself.
Right.
Or why does history repeat itself if everybody's new? When we be doing new and different things, no, it repeats itself because the same spirits come back.
Right.
Right. You want to make sure you get
his side.
Right. That's what you call it. His story. Yeah. Let's go on to it, man. Let's get into it. Let's dabble on in so we can get to this. Let's deal with this new moon. Glorious occasion.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let's go on. Psalms. Psalms 81, verse 3.
Psalms chapter 81 and verse 3. Psalms chapter 81 and verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, and the time appointed. Oh, that man disrespectful.
Come on.
Psalm chapter 81 and verse 3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day.
Read on.
For this was a statute for Israel and a law of the God of Jacob.
All right, so it is a law from the God of Jacob, which is the God of Israel, that we blow up the trumpet on the new moon and on the solemn feast days. Solemn means very serious feast days. All right. So now let's go to because it's a law. We got to get in the law first. Let's go to Numbers 10 and 10.
Numbers chapter 10 and verse 10. Numbers chapter 10 and verse 10. Also in the day of your gladness, and in your solemn days, and in the beginnings of your months, you shall blow the trumpets over your burnt offering, and over the sacrifices of your peace offering, that they may be to you for a memorial before your God. I am the Lord your God.
So the Most High says, for this to be a memorial before the Lord our God, we blow the trumpet over the burnt offerings and the sacrifices and the peace offerings. All right. On the beginning of our months, which is our new moons.
Right.
All right. Which is what we're here for tonight. So what we're going to do is we're going to blow up the trumpet and we're going to get into sacrifices real quick because we know we don't actually go into sacrificing.
Right.
So let's blow up the trumpet as the scriptures commanded. Thank you, Father God, for another day, another night. Thank you for waking us up this morning. Thank you for all your blessings. Thank you for another new moon, for allowing us to make it to another month. Father God, thank you for your mercy. There's many who did not make it to see it. Father God, by your grace, being sufficient for thee, sufficient for us, we are still here. Father God, we know that we fall short of thy glory and fall short of being righteous in thy eyes on a daily. But Father God, we ask for your mercy and forgiveness and give us the strength to overcome those things before the time coming, that we may be accounted worthy to enter into thy kingdom. But Father God, as we do our best and our due diligence to earnestly follow you and keep thy ways, Father God, we ask for you to provide for us. And Father God, keep us away from our harm, dangers, and troubles. In your Son Christ's name, we thank you for the abundance of all things. We give all glory and all praise to thy name. Father God, we ask that you protect the Israelites amongst the four corners of the earth, our brothers who teach in truth and sincerity. Father God, in your Son Christ's name, we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Happy new moon.
Happy new moon.
Happy new moon. All right. So, okay. So now, Scripture said, mentioned sacrificing. Sacrificing. The Scripture mentioned sacrificing. We don't actually sacrifice today as far as animals, but we do sacrifice. So what do we sacrifice? Ourselves. Let's get it. Romans 12:1. And then let's go into the Apocrypha a little bit. Somebody get the Apocrypha ready to roll. I think we're going with Sirach 35:1.
Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service.
Right. So the Lord said that you need to present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. Meaning what? It's the least you can goddamn do. Somebody died for you who was innocent, wasn't deserving of the death, but he died for you. You were bought with blood. Guess what? The least you can do is sacrifice yourself. All right. So now, when it said you need to make it's in Numbers 10 and 10, it also mentioned what was it? Peace offerings.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't sacrifice animals again today. So how do we offer up peace offerings? Let's go to Sirach 35:1.
Sirach chapter 35 and verse 1. Sirach chapter 35 and verse 1. He that keepeth the law bringeth offering enough. He that taketh heed to the commandments offereth a peace offering.
Right. So he that keepeth the law bringeth offering enough. If you keep the laws, that's all the offering you need. That's what the scripture's saying.
Right.
Keeping the law is all the offerings in one. That's all the offering you need. And he that take heed to the commandments offereth a peace offering, therefore binding you into doing what? Keeping both laws and commandments.
Right.
All right. So now, Let's go to who know what I want? One day sell another. So we here for the new moon. Understood?
Yeah.
Salaki, I'm sorry, my fault. We here for the new moon. Everybody understood, right? The new moon is a mother freaking high holy day. Well, the Salakia, the new moon is a holy day. It's a glorious day.
Right.
Right. A high day, a hallowed day. So, so with that being said, one might say, well, why is this day better than another, or whatever the case may be? Call it and read it.
Sirach chapter 33 and verse 7. Sirach chapter 33 and verse 7. Why doth one day excel another, when as all the light of every day in the year is of the sun?
So it says, why does one day excel another? Meaning, why is one day higher or better than another when every day is of the light of the sun? Meaning the sun shines every day, so each day gets its light. So why is one day better than another then?
Right.
You know?
By the knowledge of the Lord.
By the knowledge of the Lord, which we can't compare to,
Right.
and also by the laws of the Lord,
They were distinct,
they were distinguished, meaning made different.
and he altered seasons and feasts.
Go ahead.
Some of them have he made high days
Some days he made high days. Come on.
and hallowed them.
When he says hallowed them, meaning he made those particular days holy.
And some of them have he made ordinary days.
And some of them are just regular ass days. All right. Feast of dedication is a high day, a holy day.
Right.
Christmas is just a regular ass day.
Right.
All right. So go into the breakdown of the cycle. 43. Start at 6.
Sirach chapter 43 and verse 6. Sirach chapter 43 and verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season,
He made the moon to serve in her season. Go ahead.
for a declaration of time.
He made the moon for a declaration of times. We keep track of where we at throughout the year based off the moon. Go ahead.
And the sign of the world.
Go ahead.
From the moon is the sign of feast.
From the moon is the sign of feast. Why? Because the moon gives us our moon. It's what? The beginning of what? The beginning of your months. So if the moon is the beginning of your months, then based off the moon, you can tell when the new moon comes. If it said, let's say it said your Passover, first month, 15th day. You know when the new moon comes, 14 days out, Passover. Come on.
From the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection.
Right. It is a light that decreases in perfection, because we would be idiots to say that the moon isn't a light.
Right.
All right. But that light does decrease in perfection. Go ahead. What do you mean? It said it's for a declaration of time, seasons and feasts. Yes, the moon is a light, but it decreases perfectly. It never loses track of time.
Right.
Go ahead.
From the moon is the month is called after her name.
The way they got the word month, it came from the word moon.
Right.
Go ahead.
Increasing wonderfully in her changes.
Go ahead.
Being an instrument of the armies above,
Go ahead.
shining.
So like you go ahead. Read it again.
Being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven.
I'm sorry. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing. The moon also increases. The light decreases and it also increases.
Right.
All right. They say because the moon is full, that's when it is perfect. Okay.
Right.
Well, that perfect light gonna decrease.
Right.
The timing is perfect. We never get lost off the moon if we follow the timing of the moon.
Right.
It's gonna put you in your feast all the time on season. All right. Where we at?
That was the end of verse 8.
It says, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven, meaning that the moon shines in the ozone.
Right.
The army is the stars and the things that align with the moon. All right. But that one is the brightest instrument of the army.
Right.
All right. So now we know what the new moon is. When the light is full. Yes, we're in the middle of the month. It's perfectly full. As it decreases, it's not going to show. All right. Anything starts new, it starts empty, and then you fill it up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When new moon comes, I don't argue with those who do it at the first sight, because the first time you see it, okay, it's new. That's your first sight of it. You know what I'm saying? Then I don't argue with those who do the dark moon. Sometimes it get kind of hit back and forth because you're like, okay, it's a dark moon, ain't absolutely nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
Then they say, okay, well, your child, when a woman's pregnant, it's a baby there, but it ain't here yet. But you know it's a baby there.
Yeah, sure.
So you hear a lot of confusion right now with the new moon. You're gonna hear a lot of arguments going on, but I don't believe it's the full moon because you watch it grow to full.
Right.
So how's it new when you watch it go from nothing? Like when you get your child, think about it. You watch your child go from being in the womb to not even, you don't even know what it looked like, to here, and then you watch it grow up and then say, look at my new child.
Right.
So y'all get where I'm going. Let's keep going. All right, so what's so special about the new moon? The new moon, okay, it's the beginning of the month. Who gives a damn? What the hell makes us gives us the right to celebrate it? Let's see if our forefathers did it. We'll go to Samuel. Anybody want to finish? Samuel. 5.
And
You missed it.
who me?
Nope. Yep.
I missed.
Where we going?
Samuel.
First Samuel.
Can you help him out?
First Samuel.
Hey,
Oh.
no, why you trying to cheat?
Oh, shit.
We're going with Saul. No.
Come on, Salamander.
Come on, man, he's supposed to be there already, Solomon.
I'm waiting for somebody to call it.
Oh,
Oh.
chapter 20, cuz.
Okay.
That diary helped you.
What? Yeah, she got on there? Oh,
I thought you were in for. All right.
yeah, Solomon.
All right. You want to start at verse?
Start at 5.
Yeah, 5?
Yeah, we almost finished. We ain't gonna be on this long tonight.
First Samuel chapter 20 and verse 5. First Samuel chapter 20 and verse 5. And David said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with the king at meat. But let me go that I may hide myself in the field until the 3rd day at evening.
Right. So it says the new moon is coming and David ain't gonna be there. Why? Because what happened was an evil spirit had fell upon the king at that time, which was Saul, and he was seeking to kill David's life. David knew it, and David said, the hell with that, I ain't coming to the new moon.
Right.
I'm gonna go hide. All right. Let's jump.
All right.
Verse 18.
Verse 18. Then Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty.
Right. So the new moon is a very big event. We always tell you consider your brothers and sisters because you never know who is looking forward to seeing you. And new moon was like he gonna be missed. Why? Because that new moon is so serious that nobody ever just missed the new moon. So what you think everybody was expecting to see David?
Right.
Because David was the man in Israel, and you ain't gonna be there. Damn, you're gonna be missed. Same thing with every last one of you. You royalty.
Right.
Everybody wants to goddamn see you.
Right.
Oh, you people.
All right, let's go. Let's go ahead and jump. We ain't going. Which normally we would go to Hebrews chapter 10, read 24 through 26. We're not gonna go there tonight. All right, so we're just gonna go ahead and move on from here. Let's jump down to verse. Where is it at? What verse we jumping down to?
You said the verse?
Mm-hmm.
24.
Is it 24? Yeah. Go ahead.
1 Samuel chapter 20, verse 24. So David hid himself in the field. And when the new moon was come, the king sat him down to eat meat. And the king sat upon his seat as at other time, even upon the seat by the wall. And Jonathan arose, and Abner sat by Saul's side. And David's place was empty. Nevertheless, Saul spake not anything that day, for he thought something had befallen him. He is not clean. Surely he is not clean.
Now, he thought that David was unclean, showing you why. Because David wasn't at the new moon, showing you that our people didn't just miss the new moon. Something had to happen for him not to be here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just like it's going to be in the kingdom. You don't show up to the new moon, you're going to die. Here you mean you weren't at the new moon. so he was like, man, he was shocked. David ain't here. He wasn't here today or yesterday. He wasn't here yet today, and he didn't come for the leftovers either.
Right.
All right, that was messing with you, but yeah. All right. So there we showing that our forefathers did what? Keep the new moon.
Right.
Okay, so now let's go to Judges to prove that even though our forefathers was in Jerusalem, it doesn't mean that we don't have to keep it now that we're not in Jerusalem, because that's an argument today. What that because we're in a captivity, we ain't supposed to be trying to keep the feast days and stuff.
Right.
So let's deal with that. Judges.
Judges chapter 5 and verse 11. Judges chapter 5 and verse 11. They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the place of drawing water, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants in his village in Israel. His villages in Israel.
All right, so let's read it again. Read it slow for me.
They that are delivered from the noise of archers in the place of drawing water.
All right, so it says they that are delivered from the noise of archers. The archers is talking about bombs. Now remember, the Bible doesn't. Back in the days, they weren't speaking like that, so they was describing these things to the best of their ability.
Right.
Flying arrows. He talking about a bomb. Breathing. That's why the way you know for sure is when you precept it back into Revelations. When it shows, when it's talking about arrow, he said he saw arrows flying, breathing fire.
Right.
Letting you know he saw bombs. Okay. So they that are delivered from the noise of the archers, meaning the noise of the bombs. Go ahead.
In the place of drawing water.
And the places drawing waters is where you kneel down into servitude. We draw water from the wells. So in your places of drawing water, meaning in your places of captivity, them that are going to be delivered from the noise of the archers, from the bombs of the archers, in your places of your captivity, do what?
There shall they rehearse the righteous acts of the Lord.
Rehearse the righteous acts. What is right? Our righteousness, Deuteronomy 6:25. Keep the commandments. All right. So bingo. Rehearse the righteous acts is the laws.
Right.
Feast day is a law. All right. Yeah. So now let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah 66.
Isaiah chapter 66. Verse 23. Yeah. Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 23.
Start at 22.
Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 22. For as the new heavens and the new earth.
So just like we was told to rehearse it in our captivity, when it's over, in the new heavens, what Most High said,
which I will make, shall remain before me, saith the Lord. So shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, and saith the Lord. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the man that have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh.
Right. So even in the kingdom, we're going to be continuing to keep commandments and keeping the feast days. And the Most High is also letting you know that, guess what? You're going to see that it's going to be people that died for not doing it.
Right.
All right. So with that being said, that is the new moon in a nutshell. I pray y'all enjoy this feast day. We finna party. You know what I'm saying? We finna feast. It's time to eat.
Oh yeah,
Yes, sir.
It's time to eat.
big food,
And we
Yes,
finna
sir.
party.
Yes,
Shalom.
sir.
big dance move,
Most High in Christ.
big holy shakes,
Get this damn music pumping.
Hey.
Shalom.
shalom.